Hey everyone, and welcome back to Magic Game World. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's at the very heart of this channel, something I know you're all as passionate about as I am. We're going on a quest to find games that feel like Might and Magic, and I mean that very specific, very magical feeling. The one you get when you spend an hour just creating your party of heroes from scratch, picking their portraits, giving them names, and then setting them loose in a massive world full of danger, discovery, and legendary loot. The truth is, the Might and Magic series really has two different souls. There's the Golden Age Revolution, games 6, 7, and 8, which threw out the grid and gave us these huge, seamless 3D open worlds to explore in real time. It was a feeling of freedom that was absolutely mind-blowing back in the day. A promise that if you could see that mountain on the horizon, you could actually walk there. But then you have the classic era, games 1 through 5, and the modern Might and Magic 10, which are all about that pure grid-based, turn-based dungeon crawl. The methodical, satisfying rhythm of move, map, and battle. Today, we're going to explore 20 incredible games that carry the torch for both of these styles. We'll start with the games that chase that incredible feeling of freedom from the Golden Age, and then we'll journey back in time to the classic dungeon crawl. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's get right into it. To kick things off, let's look at a brand new release that takes that open world formula and gives it a fresh, modern coat of paint. It's called Strings of Fate 11 Magic Dream. You're planning as a party of 5 heroes, and the part that really screams Might and Magic to me, the thing that tells me the developers get it, is the magic system. They're promising 9 schools of magic with nearly 100 spells. Now, that's not just a feature, it's a philosophy. It's the promise of deep, meaningful character progression, of taking a novice and molding them into a grandmaster. It is important to know, though, that the game is in early access right now, so it's very much a work in progress. The developers have been upfront that a lot of these features, including many of the spells, are still being added over time. But what we're seeing is the foundation of a grand open-world adventure built on the Unreal Engine with a huge world and over 50 dungeons to eventually get lost in. It's one to watch as it grows. Now, if that modern approach is exciting, but you're craving something that feels even more like a direct spiritual successor, then you absolutely need to look at Wardens of Chaos. This is a real-time, party-based adventure that promises minimal linearity, and that right there is the secret sauce. That's the feeling of walking out of the first town in Might and Magic 6 and having no idea which direction is correct. It's the freedom to just wander off, to get hopelessly lost, to stumble into a dragon's lair at level 5 and learn a very swift, fiery lesson. It's that commitment to a world that doesn't hold your hand, where your skills progress from novice all the way to grandmaster, that makes it feel so authentic. Speaking of spiritual successors, let's talk about a game that is almost astonishingly faithful to the source material. Coming in 2026, the Magic World 2 Curse of the Ancients seems to understand the formula on a molecular level. Its core design principle is pure Might and Magic 6. If a place is too hard, you just leave and come back later when you're stronger. The description mentions everything from the Land of the Giants, a direct callback, to deep survival mechanics like needing food and water. This isn't just a game inspired by the classics. It feels like a game that's trying to be a long-lost sequel, a time capsule from an era we all loved. But being faithful is one thing. What about evolving the formula? That's where a game like Titans of the Past comes in. And man, this one is something else. It's a party-based RPG, but it has this really cool system where time only moves when you move, which gives it this brilliant tactical feel, letting you pause and think without breaking the immersion. The progression is not linear at all, but the killer feature, the thing that made my jaw drop, is that you get to build your own town, like in Heroes of Might and Magic, which unlocks new classes and gear. Think about that. The two sides of the Might and Magic coin, the RPG and the strategy game, finally brought together. It's a genius blend of ideas with a deep, modern loot system that feels like it was pulled from a game like Diablo. Of course, not every game has to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes it's about perfecting a specific blend. A lot of us loved the freedom of Might and Magic 6, but missed the turn-based combat. That's a niche that a couple of games fill perfectly, a kind of holy grail for a certain type of player. The first is Legendary Journey, a pure, unapologetic throwback to the late 1990s. It has the free-roaming first-person movement of Might and Magic 6, but with turn-based combat, and it even comes with a printable world map. I mean, come on, how classic is that? It's the kind of thing you'd spread out on your desk, making notes with a pen, feeling like a real adventurer. Similarly, there's A Quest That Became a Legend, another great hybrid that gives you that open-world freedom, but keeps the classic turn-based combat of the earlier games. It's a great balance for those who love to explore freely, but prefer a more strategic pace in battle, where you can take your time and plan every move. Now, if you like that idea of a hybrid, let's look at a game that takes it to another level entirely. Aledorn is a hardcore RPG that brilliantly mixes a first-person view for exploration with an isometric tactical view for combat. So you're exploring a dungeon, peeking around corners, feeling that classic immersion, and then when a fight breaks out, the camera pulls out and it becomes a deep strategic battlefield. It's a compelling modern design for players who love both deep exploration and deep tactics. But what if the adventure is more personal, more dangerous? Not every game has to be a bright, high fantasy quest. Golel is a fascinating, darker take. It's a first-person, tile-based dungeon crawler where you're a single warrior. What makes it so interesting is its focus on modern, interactive combat. You're using the environment, dropping bookshelves on skeletons, kicking zombies into pits. It feels like a smart, tactical evolution of the immersive elements we started to see in this era, a bit like a turn-based version of Dark Messiah. Of course, sometimes the best new adventures are found in the places we already love. This brings us to something truly special. Kaltenberg's Vori Mod for Might and Magic 7. This isn't a standalone game. It's a massive, ambitious project where a modder is doing something fans have dreamed about for decades, adding a whole new region, Vori, and painstakingly recreating towns from heroes of Might and Magic 3 in first person. Walking the streets of Tower Town, a place I've only ever seen from above, is an absolute dream come true. In fact, we were so impressed that we have a longer, more in-depth video showing off the mod right here on this channel. The link is waiting for you down in the description below this video. And to finish off this part of our journey, we have to talk about the one game that is absolutely, without a question, required playing for any fan of this era. Wizardry 8 is the quintessential companion to Might and Magic 6 through 8. A massive sci-fi fantasy epic with a party of up to 8, incredibly deep character creation, and a brilliant first-person turn-based combat system. If you want to experience that golden age feeling again, there is no better choice. It's a masterpiece.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time talking about that grand open world freedom, but that's only half the story, isn't it? Before Might and Magic 6 changed everything, there was a different kind of magic. The magic of the grid, the turn, the meticulously mapped dungeon. Let's journey back in time and talk about the heirs to the classic era, the legacy of games 1 through 5. If you're going to make a classic-style crawler, why not go big? That seems to be the philosophy behind The Darkness Below. This is a pure homage to the 90s, with the developers even name-dropping Might and Magic 3 through 5 as a direct inspiration. They're aiming for it to be the largest single-player grid-based RPG of all time, which is an absolutely massive, wonderfully insane promise for fans of sprawling adventures that can swallow you whole for months. But not every dungeon crawl has to be about sheer scale. Some are about personality. And that's where a game like Monsters of Mican shines. It takes that classic formula and injects it with a huge dose of personality. It's a whimsical crawler where you can actually befriend the monsters you fight. It has the deep mechanics we crave, but wrapped in a package that feels fun and creative. A welcome break from the purely grim and dark. Now, if you want that pure, no-frills classic experience, a game that feels like it could have been released in 1992 with a thick paper manual, then you should look at navigating the Labyrinth. It has all the essential ingredients: first-person view, grid-based movement, and turn-based combat. It's a pure, old-school challenge of mapping out a maze and surviving to tell the tale. Speaking of that classic, adventurous tone, the Legends of Amberland series absolutely nails it. The upcoming third entry, The Crimson Tower, continues the tradition of being a pure love letter to the 90s. The tone is light, fairy tale, and slightly humorous, a perfect match for the vibe of many Might and Magic games. It's not about being grim, it's about a grand, heroic adventure where the good guys are good and the bad guys are fun to beat. But what if a game isn't just inspired by the 90s? What if it literally is a 90s game? The upcoming Mystic Land: The Search for Maphaldo has a story that's just as epic as any in-game quest. This project was started back in 1994, abandoned, and then resurrected 25 years later when the creators found their old design notes on dusty floppy disks. It's a genuine lost classic brought to life. Of course, classic doesn't have to mean old-looking. A couple of games are blending that retro gameplay with a really distinct visual flair. The first is Paper Dungeon: Deep Down, a classic crawler at heart, but with stunning graphics and a cool, haunting narrative where you're being tormented by a mysterious overseer. And speaking of games with a really distinct, heartfelt style, there's a title that's already out that you can play right now: Heroes of the Seven Islands. It has this incredible, poorly hand-drawn art style, and I say that as a huge compliment. It gives the game so much charm and personality. It feels less like a polished product and more like a passion project that came straight out of a D&D player's notebook from the 90s. It's a heartfelt adventure that's all about capturing that classic, fun-loving spirit. Naturally, no conversation about modern grid-based crawlers is complete without mentioning the game that arguably brought the genre back from the dead. Legend of Grimrock 2 opens onto a huge island, perfectly capturing the feeling of exploration from Might and Magic 5, but with modern polish and tense real-time combat that still feels incredibly tactical. But if sheer, mind-boggling scale is what you're after in a gritter, there really is only one answer. The Quest is a huge open-world game that feels like Might and Magic 3's world expanded to the size of a continent. It is pure, unfiltered exploration on a massive scale that can easily consume hundreds of hours of your life. And finally, to round out our entire journey, let's look at another slick, high-budget, modern take on the formula. The Bard's Tale 4 Director's Cut features incredibly tactical turn-based combat that focuses on clever positioning and ability combos. It's a beautiful and challenging RPG that shows just how well the classic style holds up today. And there you have it, 20 incredible journeys that prove the spirit of Might and Magic in all its forms is stronger than ever. From ambitious upcoming epics to incredible community mods and timeless classics, the grand first-person adventure is well and truly alive. What do you think? Are there any other games that capture that Might and Magic feeling for you? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Magic Game World for more adventures into our favorite genre. Thanks for watching and happy adventuring!